Think you're pretty funny, don't you, freak?
Flash, it was just an accident.
My fist breaking your teeth, that's the accident.
What did he say?
Dude, this brings back so many memories. Alright, so the movie starts off with Peter Parker. He's chasing after his school bus that left him behind. Everyone's laughing at him because he's such a loser. And then this redhead chick, Mary Jane, gets annoyed of this shit and tells the bus driver, stop the fucking bus. And he's like, okay. This grown-ass man endangered a minor on purpose. Can you imagine if this random-ass student didn't tell the driver to stop?
The bus driver skipped several stops. Police have charged the bus driver with negligent operation of a motor vehicle and reckless endangerment of a child.
Peter finally gets on the bus and everyone is like, nerd. No one wants him to sit next to them. Not even this nerd. If the nerd doesn't want you to sit next to them, that's fucking sad. MJ's waving to her friends behind Peter, and Peter's dumbass thinks that she's waving to him.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Then we're introduced to Harry Osborn, Peter's best friend. Also Norman Osborn, Harry's dad. They pulled up in the Rolls Royce looking all dripped out and shit. Norman meets Peter and learns that he likes science and tells him, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself. This horny bastard can't keep it in his pants, and Peter's like, oh shit bro, out of sight, out of mind. My boy doesn't like confrontation. He sees sexual harassment, he looks the other way. Peter's getting bullied and Harry tries defending him, but he also gets bullied too.
Some spiders change colors to blend into their environment.
What a fucking nerd. Harry triple dog dares Peter to go talk to MJ, but he's being a little bitch and doesn't do it, so Harry talks to her instead.
Spiders can change their color to blend into their environment.
Really? You're not really fine.
MJ noticed that there's a super dangerous radioactive spider that's missing, and she tells the science lady, but she doesn't really give a shit because fuck safety. The teacher comes over here to cock block Harry and he takes him away. Peter finally grows a pair of balls and decides to talk to Mary Jane. He needs to take pictures for the school paper with a student in it.
Ah, perfect.
Great.
That's great.
Dude, are you sure these are for the school? We then see the missing spider making its way down to Peter, and then it bites the shit out of him for no reason. Cut to Norman Osborn's company, Oscorp. These dudes that are funding Norman's company want a status update on their Viagra serum. This nerdy loser tells him that it's not ready, but Norman's like, what are you talking about, man? This shit is ready to go, dude. Just go ahead and try it, bro. Trust me. But the nerdy guy tells him that they have to start all over and take it back to formula.
Dr. Osborn.
So they give him a couple weeks to get their shit together. We then meet Uncle Ben and Aunt May. Peter comes home and tells him, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. The spider bite starts fucking with his DNA, making him feel like shit. Then we cut to Norman doing some mad scientist shit by testing the Viagra juice on himself with the help of this nerd. He hotboxes the fuck out of that room, but can't handle all that weed, I think. So he starts tweaking out. This nerd turns off the machine. Then he's like, oh my god, Norman! Dude, give him CPR. Kiss him, kiss him. And then Norman's like, surprise, bitch.
Back to formula.
He chokes him and eats him across the room like a fucking cum rag. Peter wakes up looking all ripped, not needing his glasses anymore. The bus leaves him again, so he runs after it and finds out that he has super sticky hands. During lunch, MJ's stupid ass doesn't see this big ass spill on the floor. Like, are you serious? Like, she was a good distance away from that spill. She could have noticed it easily. Are you blind? Peter gets his Peter Tingle and catches her and the food with fucking ease. Look at that shit, bro. She's like, oh my god, that was amazing. But Peter chokes and doesn't say a fucking word. Honestly, he was way better off just letting her fall for her stupidity of not seeing that big ass spill on the floor. Peter sits down all upset because he fumbled the bag, and because that was his first time ever touching a girl, he got really excited and nutted on his fork. Then he shoots out more web on this tray on accident. So he says fuck it and throws it behind him, hitting his school bully. Peter's like, oh shit, and runs away. Peter senses this punch coming a mile away and dodges that shit. He's dodging every punch left and right, every sneak attack. Peter grabs Flash's hand and nearly kills him, and this fucking dickhead is like,
Jesus, Parker, you are a freak.
like, what the fuck? Was Peter supposed to let himself be sent to the hospital? I mean, look at this punch. No face, no case. Peter runs away from the crime scene and finds himself in an alley where he puts two and two together and uses his sticky hands to climb up the wall like a spooter. I fucking love this scene, dude. It's so cool. Then Peter tries to bust another nut, but he can't really figure out how to do it.
Go, Web! Fly! Shazam! Go! Go! Go, Web, go!
Peter and his big balls think it's a good idea to swing from the building, so he does just that, and he does pretty good for the first time. Peter comes home and gets an opportunity to talk to MJ until he gets cock-blocked by her boyfriend. He sees his cool-looking car and wants to get one too, but he's broke as fuck. So he finds an ad on the newspaper where he can get like $3,000 to wrestle. So he comes up with some cool costume ideas with this dope-ass montage. Peter's aunt and uncle think that he's doing crack because he's acting kind of sus. Peter's about to head out to go to his wrestling match, but his uncle wants to go with him, and he's like, nah man, it's cool. And his uncle's like, fuck you man, let's go. They get there and his uncle tries talking to him about, like, you know, some responsibility type shit.
With great power comes great responsibility.
But Peter tells his uncle to fuck off, so he does. In the next scene, Peter gets introduced as Spooderman, and he has to fight in this cage match. Peter's all scared and regrets his life choices.
Take the chain off!
You're going nowhere.
Peter confirms to us that this is a female he's wrestling.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
He's getting his ass beat by a girl, but equal rights, equal fights. He beats the shit out of this lady. and wins the fight. He goes to collect his winnings, but this piece of shit bamboozles him. And Peter's like, I need that money.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
So he gets all pissed and walks away. And then this random dude walks in and robs the son of a bitch.
Put the money in the bag.
And flees the scene, and Peter's holding a grudge, so he lets him get away.
Thanks.
Then this piece of shit comes out and he's all sad that he let him get away. He got away with my money, man. What the fuck?
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Clapping back and shit, dude. And he walks back to the library. He sees a crowd of people all gathered up and he's like, what the fuck is going on over there? So he goes up and checks, and turns out it's his uncle. His uncle's like lying on the floor, almost fucking dying, bro. He's like,
Peter, over here, Uncle Ben.
Peter overhears where the dude who shot his uncle is at, and he hauls ass to find the son bitch. He does some parkour on his way, looking all cool and shit. Gets on top of this building and he's like, fuck it, and decides to swing again. He eventually lands on the car and forces this dude to crash into this building. Then they both go inside and Peter decides to fuck with him a little bit.
Who's there?
Peter grabs him and smashes his face into these two fucking windows and beats the shit out of him. Then he finds out who this dude is and gets some flashbacks of this dirtbag. He's about to shoot Peter and Peter breaks his fucking hand and smashes it into like a million pieces. This idiot walks back and trips and falls to his death like a dumbass. Peter flees the scene again because he's not trying to go to jail. No face, no case, you know what I'm saying? He comes back home and tells Aunt May, congratulations, you are now a widow. Oh yeah, then we see this old moron, like one of their investors, about to pick this fucking life-size dildo suit over this cool-ass looking suit of armor. Or like, you know, this suit thing, right? Why would you pick this over this? This pilot starts testing out the dildo suit, and out of nowhere he sees a fucking laser missile about to clap his cheeks. And it does, because he never stood a chance. He's a fucking useless dildo floating in the air. Green Goblin, just look at him, he's fucking useless, poor guy. Green Goblin emerges from the fiery flames and kills everyone else too. At Peter's high school graduation, Harry sees MJ rejecting this loser's proposal, so they break up, and Harry sees this opportunity to slide in, get her number or some shit. After this graduation, he comes home and starts crying because his uncle wasn't there. His aunt tells him to stop being a little bitch. He remembers what his uncle tells him, right? With great power comes great responsibility, and that makes him like want to change his life around. We see all the good that Peter's doing as Spider-Man. He's stopping armed robberies and people being mugged. Okay, seems like an outstanding citizen.
He stinks and I don't like him.
What? Why?
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
We then get introduced to J. Jonah Jameson, who thinks Spider-Man is a straight menace to society.
He pulled 6 people off that subway car. Sure, from a wreck he probably caused.
Nice guy. Peter's walking around the city and finds MJ and starts catcalling her. Yo, girl, what you doing? Peter finds out that his best friend Harry is dating MJ.
We're going out, didn't he tell you?
Oh, no. This can't be.
Then later he sees an ad offering money for pictures of Spider-Man, so he starts beating the shit out of criminals and takes some pictures of the evidence. He gives the pictures to JJ over here, but they all look like shots only Spider-Man would be able to take. Like, how does he not question the logic behind this? So Jameson is like,
Spider-Man, hero or menace?
menace. Jameson tells him to shut the fuck up, don't tell me how to do my fucking job. Then he tries flirting with this baddie over here.
I'm Peter Parker. I'm a photographer.
Yes, I can see that.
I guess not. Then we cut to Norman telling all these seniors that stonks are up and they're all gonna be super rich. This sellout tells Norman that they're gonna sell the company to the fuckers that made this giant dildo suit.
What?
Everyone in the room voted to have him fired as a CEO.
But you can't do this to me.
I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Then he's like, you're out, Norman.
Am I?
Cut to later and this cool ass big parade is going down in Times Square. Peter's there taking pictures and he looks up and he sees his best mate with the girl he's simping over, which probably makes him a little jelly. Harry goes in for a smooch, but she's like, nope. Then Harry looks down and sees Peter looking up and he's like, oh shit. Then in the distance, people notice a UFO in the air.
That's a glider.
And once they see it fly over, they're like, oh my god, it's so fucking cool. Wow. What? No way. Then Goblin chucks a fucking orange at the building and that shit explodes and everyone is screaming for their fucking lives. You fucking morons. Then Peter's like, I gotta turn into Spooderman and runs away. He does it in front of everyone. That's not very subtle if you're trying to hide your identity. But whatever, I guess everyone's blind in this movie. Green Goblin goes to these sellouts and throws a bomb at them or whatever that is. Mary Jane trips and falls and now she's about to fall to her death. But Harry ain't about to let that shit happen. So he gets up to go rescue her. Green Goblin tries hitting on Mary Jane, but Spooderman comes out of nowhere and cockblocks him. The glider goes through this giant balloon. The whole structure is coming down and this kid just stands there. What the fuck? Get out of the way. So he's like,
Fuck out of the way!
the kid's not very smart, man. Green Goblin starts speeding up a bunch of cops. Spider-Man swings in to try and stop him, but he counters that shit and Spartan kicks him away. It causes Peter to knock over this heavy-ass looking pole, and it probably kills this man, who also didn't get out of the way. What the fuck, man? Why is no one moving? Nah, that man is dead, bro. Look at him. Spider-Man's trying to save MJ, so he decides to nut on Goblin's face and ruin his flying toy. Then he kidnaps Mary Jane in front of everyone and swings away. Later, Norman realizes that he's fucking insane, and he has this little chit-chat with himself, coming up with an idea to get Spider-Man to be his evil buddy with him. Mr. Jameson smoking this fat blunt, and he throws it out the window. Then it comes back to him like a fucking boomerang, and he's all tripped out. Peter's like, oh shit, gotta turn into Spider-Man. So he comes from behind and nuts on JJ's face because he won't shut the fuck up. Then Goblin, Bill Cosby, Spider-Man. and takes him away. He makes him an offer he can't refuse and asks him to form an alliance with him so they could terrorize the city or some shit. People see Spider-Man as a menace or some shit. I don't know why though. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, he literally just saved Times Square from Green Goblin, and they're like, nah, fuck you, why'd you do that? You're gonna be arrested. Later, Peter's talking to MJ. She's walking away and these creepy bastards start following her. Then a bunch of other dudes come out of nowhere and they start harassing her, but Vengeance eats them away and starts beating them up. He's about to break this dude's spine, but MJ starts walking up to him, but he doesn't have his mask, so he leaves. MJ wants to say thank you to Spider-Man for saving her. Don't you have a boyfriend? Oh shit, a burning building. What the fuck? Why is your baby all the way upstairs and not down here with you?
Hold it right there. You're under arrest. I'm taking you in.
What? Arrest the lady that left her child unsupervised. You're going after the wrong person here, buddy. Oh my god, there's still someone up there. So he tells the officer to go fuck himself and he goes back inside the building. He tells a crying lady to calm the fuck down. Green Goblin asks Spider-Man if they can be friends, but he's like, nope. So he gets mad and throws these crazy looking things at Spider-Man, and Spider-Man just dodges all that shit like fucking Neo from the Matrix. But then he gets cut by one of them. They fight a little and Spider-Man just leaves this insane psychopath to terrorize the city even more. He didn't bother to stop him after he literally just said,
Whatever it is, somebody has to stop it.
somebody, but just not me. Peter just got home and he hears them coming upstairs and he's like, oh shit. This drop of blood falls down and Norman hears that shit and starts looking around, questioning the logic behind that. Norman can't wait to eat, so he goes in for a grab of whatever the fuck this is. But Aunt May bitch slaps his hand and you can tell he's about to lose his shit. But Peter interrupts with this little cut. At this point, Norman realizes that Peter is Spider-Man, so he leaves in a hurry.
Something has come to my attention.
MJ calls his dad a creep. Harry doesn't like that shit, so he calls her a bitch.
Harry Oscorp.
Later, Aunt May is praying to the Lords, so she ends up in the hospital. Peter realizes that Green Goblin knows his identity. Later, Peter and MJ are flirting. Then Harry walks in the room and sees this shit, so he gets all sad and goes to his dad and tells him about it. And then his dad figures out that he can go after MJ too.
Would it be so dangerous to let Mary Jane know how much you care? Everybody else knows.
Motherfucker. He tries calling Mary Jane, but she doesn't pick up the goddamn phone. Then Green Goblin picks up the phone and tells Peter,
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
Then we cut to MJ waking up from a peaceful nap. She's all confused as to where the fuck she's at, and she nearly falls to her death. Damn, imagine if she actually fell. Would that have changed the plan? Like, Spider-Man's gonna get there and like, oh shit, she's dead. Fuck. Spider-Man finally arrives and swings in. Green Goblin gives Peter the choice to save Mary Jane or a bunch of little shits. So he lets him go so Peter can decide. He saves MJ and these kids all in one go. Then Goblin's like, fuck man, my plan. Peter tells MJ to climb down because she's heavy as shit. Goblin comes out of nowhere and punches him in the face, which causes him to let go of the rope, nearly killing MJ and these kids. But homie catches that shit, no problem. So Goblin pulls out his shank about to kill Spooderman, but he gets no script by whatever the fuck that was. All these fuckers are throwing a bunch of shit at him. Honestly, he could have just shot like a missile at them. They wouldn't have stood a chance. After saving everyone, Green Goblin yoinks Peter and eats him into this building. Then he Kobe chucks a grenade in his face. How the fuck is he alive? No burns or anything. Norman beats the shit out of Peter. Then he's about to murder him and tells him,
MJ and I, we're gonna have a hell of a time.
He doesn't like that shit, so he yeets him across the room. He goes full vengeance mode and just starts going ham on his face, dude. Norman tells him to stop and tries convincing him that he had nothing to do with it. It was all Green Goblin. All of that shit is behind him now, so you know, he's good. He's a changed man. Norman tries asking for his help, but Spooderman's like, nope, and tells him to go fuck himself. So then Norman tries killing him with his glider, but Peter gets his Peter tingle and does a sick ass backflip and lets Norman die. Peter takes Norman's body back to his home, and Harry walks in on this shit and thinks Spider-Man killed him. At Norman's funeral, Harry hates Spooderman because he killed his dad and swears vengeance on his father's death. MJ tells Peter how she feels about him and gives him a smooch, but Peter ain't a simp anymore.
I will always be your friend.
So he friend-zones her and walks away. What a fucking Chad. After Peter rejects MJ, he just starts swinging away like a fucking superhero.
I give this movie a nice Will Smith slap.
Oh, wow.